And in this video, I'm going to teach you basics of peeing mechanics. What I want you to get out of this video is basically understand what is the standard of peeing, the gold standard. I don't want to say normal, because who is actually normal, but whatever synonym is for normal. This is not a video to train you of what to do if you have prolapse or if you have other issues. I will mention a little bit about that, but that is a whole different training. So let's dive into it. A little bit about the background of peeing. We have two different muscles that we need to think about. We have the actual muscle of the bladder. That is called the detrusor muscle, and what happens is that muscle contracts when there is a certain amount of pressure within the bladder itself that creates a stretch on the bladder walls. So as those bladder walls stretch, the detrusor muscle is like, oh, it's time to pee. There's a couple stages to that. So you have an initial filling, the first urge, if you will, which is, oh, I might have to pee. And then typically at that point, you should be able to delay half hour to an hour, maybe even a little bit longer. The second urge is when there's more liquid in the bladder, and that is when someone will typically go and empty their bladder. If you wait, if it's not appropriate, you're not near a toilet or whatever other reason, you can delay that again using higher centers of the brain and then using more muscle force that I'm going to talk to you about now. So let's say you have an urge, you're at your second urge to go to empty your bladder, and there's no toilet, so you have to wait. So what happens is your pelvic floor muscles, so that's the second group of muscles that are important, communicate with the detrusor in that, so they contract. They're like, nope, this is not time. So when they contract, the detrusor muscle, which I just described, doesn't contract. It stays silent. We have control over a large majority of our pelvic floor muscles, with the exception of some around the urethra and elsewhere that we don't have control over. The detrusor muscle, we don't have control over. So meaning there's a somatic nervous system, meaning we can decide whether or not to do something. Then we have the autonomic. We don't have that capacity. It's out of our voluntary control. So a lower part of the brain. So let's say it's time, that first time you didn't have a toilet, so your pelvic floor muscles contracted to send a message to the detrusor muscle to stop contracting. If the detrusor were to misbehave and continue to contract, your urge will get stronger and stronger. And when the pressure above exceeds or is higher than the pressure below, that's when urine comes out, or that's when a leak would occur. When the detrusor muscle contracts, the pressure, if we're measuring it, spikes. And some people can control it, some people don't. It's dependent on volume, like how much liquid's there. It's dependent on strength of the system below. Can we stop it? Now, let's say you have your system is functioning how we want it to function. It's not misbehaving. So you finally get to a bathroom, sit on the toilet, and what should happen is your pelvic floor muscles relax, and because of that, there's a change in electrical activity down there. That's what drives our system. It's partially what drives our system. And that communicates with the detrusor muscle, hey, our activity's low, time to spike yours. So the detrusor therefore then squeezes, and because the pelvic floor muscles are relaxed, The urethra has less outlet pressure, so it's like an open door, and you pee. So that is the science of what's called micturition, or emptying your bladder.